Okay, so today we're going to read three of Aesop's fables. Aesop's fables are fairly famous for their life lessons. So the three that we will read today are The Crow and the Pitcher, that's the first one. The North Wind and the Sun, that's the second one. And then The Flies and the Honey. So for this first story, The Crow and the Pitcher, some key vocabulary is a pitcher is a container for holding water. So this right here, this is a pitcher of water. A pebble is a small rock or a small stone. So this right here, this is a pebble. So as we are reading this story, I want you to think of the answers to these questions. Where did the crow find water? What was the crow's idea? And then finally, the most important, what does this story teach us? So I'm going to start reading. You can read along if you want, or just listen. The Crow and the Pitcher. In a spell of dry weather, when the birds could find very little to drink, a thirsty crow found a pitcher with a little water in it. But the pitcher was high and had a narrow neck, and no matter how he tried, the crow could not reach the water. The poor thing felt that he must die of thirst. Then an idea came to him. Picking up some small pebbles, he dropped them into the pitcher one by one. With each pebble, the water rose a little higher until at last it was near enough so he could drink. In a pinch, a good use of our wits may help us out. So look, this is the crow, this is the pitcher of water, this is the pebble. We're going to click on the orange stone. The crow, look. And now he can drink. Okay, so looking at the questions. Where did the crow find water? The crow found water in a pitcher. What was the crow's idea? The crow's idea was to put the pebble, the little stone, in the pitcher so the water goes up. It rises. All right, and then what does this story teach us? This is the most important. All Aesop's fables have a lesson. So for this one, it's in a pinch, a good use of our wits may help us out. What do you think that means? To me, the story teaches that when you're in a difficult place, you should work smart. You need to think and come up with solutions. So to me, this just means when you're in trouble, be smart. But you might have a different opinion, and that's fine. It's all up to you. All right, so that's all for The Crow and the Pitcher. You can listen to it again if you want, but we're going to move on to The North Wind and the Sun. The North Wind and the Sun. Okay, so some key vocabulary. Quarrel and dispute are similar words. They just mean a fight or an argument. So quarrel, dispute, fight, argument. And then in the story, it uses the word strip. Strip just means to remove or take off. For this story, it's talking about clothing. All right, so then the questions. What is the wind's idea? What is the sun's idea? And then finally, what does this story teach us? So we can start reading now. The North Wind and the Sun. The North Wind and the Sun had a quarrel about which of them was the stronger. While they were disputing with much heat and bluster, a traveler passed along the road wrapped in a cloak. "Let us agree," said the sun, that he is the stronger who can strip the traveler of his cloak." "Very well," growled the North Wind, and at once sent a cold, howling blast against the traveler. So this is the traveler, this is the wind. With the first gust of wind, the ends of the cloak whipped about the traveler's body, but he immediately wrapped it closely around him, and the harder the wind blew, the tighter he held it to him. The North Wind tore angrily at the cloak, but all his efforts were in vain. Then the sun began to shine. At first his beams were gentle, and in the pleasant warmth after the bitter cold of the North Wind, the traveler unfastened his cloak and let it hang loosely from his shoulders. The sun's rays grew warmer and warmer, and the man took off his cap and mopped his brow. At last he became so heated that he pulled off his cloak to escape the blazing sunshine, threw himself down in the welcome shade of a tree by the roadside. So let's look at the sun. Gentleness and kind persuasion win where force and bluster fail. Okay, so now looking at the questions. What is the wind's idea? Both the wind and the sun want the traveler to remove his cloak or jacket. What is the wind's idea? The wind's idea is to blow the cloak off of him. With a lot of wind, he will lose his cloak. But did that work? No, the traveler was cold, so when the wind came, he just held the cloak tighter. So that did not work. The second question, what is the sun's idea? The sun's idea is to use warmth to make the traveler hot, so he'll take the cloak off. And this works. So at the end, what does this story teach us? Gentleness and kind persuasion win where force and bluster fail. So what does this story teach us? To me, that means it's easier to be nice to people. And usually when you are nice, things work out for you. So good things happen when you're kind and nice, and good things do not happen when you're mean and angry. So it's easier to have other people like you and help you when you are kind to them. You should treat people kindly because it works better. To me, that's what the lesson of this story is. So going on to the last story, the flies and the honey. The flies and the honey. This one is short, but for vocabulary, we have upset. Upset just means spill or knock over. So the bucket is upset. It spilled over. That's all. That's all that means. And then the questions. What happened to the flies? What does this story teach us? So, the flies and the honey. A jar of honey was upset, and the sticky sweetness flowed out on the table. The sweet smell of honey soon brought a large number of flies, buzzing around. Bzz. They did not wait for an invitation. No, indeed, they settled right down, feet and all, to gorge themselves. Gorge. The flies were quickly smeared from head to foot with honey. Their wings stuck together. They could not pull their feet out of the sticky mass, and so they died, giving their lives for the sake of a taste of sweetness. Be not greedy for a little passing pleasure. It may destroy you. So, what happened to the flies? The flies wanted the honey, so they land in the honey to eat it. They get stuck and they die. They got stuck in the honey. And finally, what does this story teach us? Be not greedy for a little passing pleasure. It may destroy you. So take a second. What do you think that means? This, to me, has a lot of meaning now. Not to bring it back to the coronavirus, but be not greedy for a little passing pleasure. It may destroy you. We are all locked in our homes right now. We can't go out to bars, to shops, because it may destroy us. Yes, it would be very fun to go out to a bar, to go out to a store. But the hour or 2 or 3 that you spend there, is it worth the consequences? No, it's not. The same principle applies. I know Aesop's fables are meant for children, but the lessons they share are for everyone. This is a kind of adult topic, but think about people that cheat on their husbands or wives. You go out, you have one night of fun, but then that can ruin everything. Ruin something you worked on for years and years. And that few moments of pleasure, of sweetness, it was not worth destroying something that you had. So to me, that's the lesson. Sorry, it went from coronavirus to cheating on your spouse, but be not greedy for a little passing pleasure. It may destroy you. Thank you for watching. Feel free to comment if you have any questions or answer the questions we have here. If you have some differing opinions, if you think the answer is different, because it could be. I want to hear your opinions. Thank you so much. See you later.